Welcome to one and all. Let's start graphical representation of data. It is well said that one picture is better than 1,000 words. Usually, comparisons among the individual items are best shown by means of graph. The representation then becomes easier to understand than actual data. In this section, we are going to study the graphical representation of the data. First one, bar graph. Second one, histogram of uniform width and of varying width. First one, bar graph. A bar graph is a pictorial representation of data in which usually the bars or rectangles of uniform width are drawn with equal spacing between them on one axis, that is, x-axis depicting the variable. The values of the variable are shown on the other axis, that is on y-axis, and the height of the bars depend on the values of the variable. Consider one example. In a particular section of class 9, 40 students were asked about months of their birth, and this is the graph prepared for the data so obtained. Observe this bar graph and can you answer the following question? How many students were born in the month of November? In which month were the maximum number of students born? Here you should note that the variable here is the month of birth and the value of the variable is the number of students born. So what is your answer? 4 students were born in the month of November and the maximum number of students were born in the month of August. Another example. A family with monthly income of rupees 20,000 had planned the following expenditure per month under various heads. Grocery 4, rent 5, education of children 5, medicine 2, fuel 2, entertainment 1 and miscellaneous 1. Draw a bar graph for the data above. So we draw the bar graph of this data in the following steps. First, you should know that the unit in the second column is 1000 rupees. So 4 against grocery means rupees 4000. Here, what is the variable? The heads is the variable. So we represent the heads on the horizontal axis choosing any scale since the width of the bar is not important. But for clarity, we take equal widths for all bars and maintain equal gaps in between. Let one head be represented by 1 unit. We represent the expenditure on the vertical axis. Since the maximum expenditure is 5000, so we can choose the scale as 1 unit is equal to rupees 1000. To represent our first head, that is grocery, we draw a rectangular bar with width 1 unit and height 4 units. Similarly, the other heads are represented leaving a gap of 1 unit in between 2 consecutive bars. Here you can easily visualize the relative characteristics of the data at a glance. For example, the expenditure on education is more than double that of medical expense. Therefore, in some ways it serves as a better representation of data than the tabular form. Next one, histogram. This is a form of representation like the bar graph, but it is used for continuous class interval. For example, this table gives the mark of 20 students in an annual examination. Between 0 to 5, how many students are there? 2. 5 to 10, 2 students. 10 to 15, 5. 15 to 20, 5. 20 to 25, 3. 25 to 30, 3. How to draw the histogram for this data? We represent the marks obtained on x-axis and number of students on y-axis. Observe that there is no gaps in between the consecutive rectangles. The resultant graph appears like a solid figure. So this is called a histogram, which is a graphical representation of grouped frequency distribution with a continuous classes. Also, unlike a bar graph, the width of the bar plays a significant role in its construction. Let's discuss the difference between histogram and bar graph. The first one, there are no gap in between consecutive rectangle in histogram. Second one, bar chart can be also be drawn horizontally, but histogram cannot be drawn horizontally.